A lot of people say that the Englund Gambit is a bad opening because it relies on a single trap, and if the trap doesn't work, you end up in a losing position. But that's not the case, and I'm going to show you guys that there's a really good line that you can play in the Englund Gambit, and you can get some really good wins with it, especially against London system players. Let's jump right into it. So I have the chess.com analysis board here, and I'm going to show you guys what is the best line to play the Englund Gambit. And of course, in order to play this opening, your opponent has to start the game with the move d4. And your answer is going to be e5. So you're offering a pawn to your opponent. It's a gambit, right? And at first, it seems like there's nothing that you're going to gain with it. You're not going to get a development lead or anything. But I'm going to show you guys a really interesting line that you can play, and you get some really good advantage. And why is this opening so good against London system players? Especially when they play blitz or bullet, London system players, they like to pre-move the first two opening moves, which is d4 and bishop to f4. And when they pre-move these ones, they're going to fall into this very nice pre-move trap. When we play this move and they pre-moved the bishop here to f4, they're going to lose a piece. And this happens very often, right? And if they don't do that, if they don't fall for the pre-move trap, well, in that case, they still can't play this move, so they are out of their book. They have to play something else. They have to play something different, right? And you're dragging them to your territory, and you know the theory much better. You have an advantage. So the move here is e5. Your opponent is probably going to take the pawn here. And as they capture your pawn, a lot of people like to go for that trap where you play the knight here and you try to play your queen out and try to go for a quick checkmate. We're not going to go for that. We're going to offer here to our opponent yet another pawn. And as white captures this pawn, we're going to recapture with the bishop, and we have a development lead, open lines. At the cost of one pawn, we have a very strong attack against white. Okay, so let's take a look how it works. White's probably going to take the pawn. We're going to capture with our bishop. So we already have a piece here developed. We're going to develop our pieces very quickly. The knight, the bishop. We're going to move the queen and castle long and launch an attack here against our opponent on the king side. So here, white's probably going to develop the knights. And as they develop the knight, we're going to develop our knight and our bishop too. Here, probably they're going to play this pawn up. We're going to be pinning this knight here, and the attack against this knight will be very important in the future. You can see that their next moves are going to be very intuitive. We're going to play our queen here and to prepare long castles. And as we castle, you can see that our rook will be pointing towards white's queen and will be x-raying, and this bishop will be ready to jump and make some discoveries against the queen. Of course, if white's not aware, they're going to lose the queen. And we can see that this is going to happen. They're going to develop the bishop in order to castle here and break the pin on the knight. We're going to castle long. We already have this attack ready to take white's queen by sacrificing the bishop here as soon as white castle. But this knight right here is a great defender of this pawn. So in order for this attack to work, we have to eliminate this knight first. So you can already see the plan working out. If white's not careful here and they castle, let's say, you can already put this plan to work. There's nothing white can do here. We're going to remove the knight from the board. They have to recapture. And now we can, deal this devastating blow by taking the pawn here with check. White has to react to that, and they end up losing the queen on the spot. Okay, white takes, we take the queen, they capture our rook, and from here on, we are already winning this game. We can develop the knight and finish our development, try to trade pieces and win because we have material advantage. Let's say if white plays this move, trying to, develop this bishop right here, they instantly lose to this move, forking, the king and the knight. We win yet another piece, the piece that we sacrificed earlier. And Engine says that this is +6 for black. It's -6 actually. So we are winning this game this winning position. We just have to convert the winning position by, exchanging pieces and trying to win in the end game. But of course, white can go for different moves. They don't have to castle in this position right here. They don't have to necessarily castle. Instead of castling, they can play a different move like bishop here. And this is blocking the queen here on this file. So we cannot, that attack doesn't work anymore because now we have a bishop in front of the queen, right? And next move, they're going to castle. But you know what? They're going to castle directly towards our attack because we're going to attack the king on the king side. And as they castle, we're going to develop the bishop, the knight there. As they castle, we're going to throw our pawns against the king. Okay? And let's say white plays this move trying to ask the question to our bishop here. We have many options. We can take this knight, but a very interesting move is to just ignore that and sidestep with the king there, pretending we're ignoring this attack. White's probably going to take. And let's take a look at this move. We sidestep. White's probably going to think, okay, we're up a piece here. But as we recaptured this pawn, we are suddenly attacking this knight that's going to have to move. And we have unleashed this rook. The bishop is aiming there. This, knight and this queen can join to the party very quickly. The other rook can also move here. It's a very strong attack against white's position. We're going to recapture. White has to move the knight because the knight is under attack. They move the knight away. We're going to check the king using the bishop here. More often than not, king's going to sidestep. If they take, they can take the bishop here. If they end up taking this bishop, in this case, they can't take the bishop because it's defended. But I'm going to show you a line where they can actually take the bishop. Here, the sidestep. We're going to play queen here. And look at this, guys. This knight is going to fall. They have no option. We have 3 pieces attacking it, right? So they're going to have to trade this knight. We recapture by the pawn. And if they try to move, let's say, the pawn here to block our queen from joining the attack, it's not going to work because we have this move with a discovered check to the king. And in this position, actually, white can take the bishop here. And if they take, they are checkmated in a few moves, right? They take the bishop. We we move here to h5 with the queen to prepare the checkmate, which is inevitable here. Okay, so the best option for the king here is not actually to take the bishop, but actually to move here. But it's an avoidable checkmate here too. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna move the queen here to h5, and the checkmate is just going to take a little longer. We're gonna check there. They take the bishop, and then we checkmate here on h1 again. The same idea. We just have a few moves more. Okay. So this is not really good for white here. If they take this, they end up losing the game. But you don't have to go for this, moving the king here. You can actually trade this this knight. You can take this knight if you want. And if they recapture here, you still have a very strong attack. You move your queen here, threatening mate in 1. White has to respond against that. They're going to move the g pawn here, trying to, block your attack. And you can go ahead and push this pawn. You are attacking this the g3 pawn here, trying to eliminate this defender. If they try something fancy like moving the knight here to protect this pawn, it's still not going to work. We're going to take. If they take with the knight, we play queen here. Now we are lining up a different kind of attack, and we can still, take this knight. We have many things to do here. And again, they're trying to play some pieces here to bring some defenses. It's not going to work. There's nothing they can do to stop this attack. We take here. We're threatening mate here against white's king. If they try to do something, there's not much they can do. We're going to check here. Remember, this checkmate is not available. The knight is here protecting this square. The bishop is also protecting the square. But we can check the king there. The king will have to move. Then the bishop takes knight. We take the queen. And here we check with the rook. King has to move. We can take the bishop over there. If they trade, we trade pieces. Bishop's going to take our knight. We trade the knight there. And here, guys, we're basically up a piece. We're going to win this game. It's a big advantage for black. And you might be asking, like, what if in the first place, as we begin this, white doesn't take this pawn? We can, of course, force them to take this pawn. They have no other option. If they don't capture the pawn here and they try to, let's say, defend this pawn by playing the knight out, let's take a look at this variation. You're going to have to force white to take that pawn and accept the gambit. So we're going to play this knight out, attacking the pawn once again. If they don't capture and play something else, we are going to capture this pawn, or with the knight, or with the pawn here. So if they defend the pawn yet another time with the bishop, we are going to now pin that knight. We're going to attack this knight. We're not going to pin, we're just going to attack. Because if we take this knight and remove the defender, we're actually threatening to take the pawn. So the next move will be capturing here to remove the defender of this pawn so we can take it. This bishop's going to have to move. It's a disaster for white here. So they're going to have to take. They have no option. And here, we're not going to take here yet. We're not going to do that. We're going to move this queen here. So we are attacking this bishop that is hanging. It's not being defended. And this pawn that is hanging, and then the rook afterwards. So white has to do something here. The only move that defends both pieces, the bishop and the pawn, is queen here. So when they play the queen there, then we are going to take the pawn because we removed the queen here defending. They have to take. They have no other option here. We take back with the queen. You see, very easy to play this. They're going to try to develop the knight there. We're going to castle long again, castling long. You know, very strong, powerful attack here on the center of the board. They play e3. We're going to develop the knight, ready to bring the other rook here or to pawn storm on the king side. We have many plans. This is a great game for black as well. So I'd like to know from you guys, what do you think about this opening? Are you encouraged to play the Englund's Gambit now? I have played it myself and achieved great success with it, so I'd like you to try it in your games too. So let me know what you think in the comments below. If you liked the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And I see you guys in the next one.